The Wyoming toad is found only in the Laramie Plains of Wyoming. It's found nowhere else in the world. And it has the maybe unfortunate distinction of being one of the most endangered amphibians in North America and the most endangered amphibian in the United States.
We thought these guys were extinct, and we were really fortunate to find another wild population.
We recognized the need, not just with Wyoming toads, but the amphibian populations worldwide are in crisis mode.
And the development of the species survival plan came into being in a partnership effort so that we could reintroduce it into their natural habitat and let them go.
Get the shore blocks.
And so there is a lot of effort that we're putting into keeping this toad on the landscape because it declined so far so fast right before our eyes.
This is universal.
It's been a complicated process that has evolved and changed over the years.
It's been a lot of learning curve,
There certainly are some ups and downs. One day you feel really good, and the next day, maybe not so good.
We've been doing a lot of scientific research to try and determine what habitat they need, trying to improve the diet of the captive breeding individuals.
Because it declined before we really knew much about it, what it needed, trying to understand what was needed for recovery is limiting.
You have to adapt, you have to be flexible, you have to learn to change your strategies.
One of our main objectives, of course, is to prepare them for being in the wild. Our 900 toadlets for one feeding per day would go through 27,000 crickets per week, and we feed them usually twice a day, most every day. Giving them as much possible diversity of food is good for several reasons. For one, it develops a bigger search image, so basically anything that moves they'll try to eat versus only if it looks like a cricket they'll try to eat it.
It is quite an adventure to work with the Wyoming toad and to try to save it. The good thing is we're not alone.
Well, we found toads back in those big cottonwoods there, and we've let the willows come through here to form sort of a corridor, trying to figure out some of the variety that they can sample from and see where success is greatest, which is ideal. We've had this place for about 25 years now. As a private landowner, one always tends to be a little protective of their land. But it's neat if we can help establish the toad. It's not really a problem for us.
So we zero in, and there he is right now. Reintroductions are often misunderstood as far as a conservation technique. Many people think it's very easy to reintroduce an animal, that you simply take a captive bred animal, put it back out into the wild, and then it will thrive and flourish and reproduce. Oftentimes it's much more difficult than that. It's extremely complicated.
In 2010 there was one toad that we found in the wild twice that year, so we're pretty sure there was one wild toad. And then last year I believe they found 200 in one survey.
People don't understand, okay, the world is changing and the toad didn't cut it. And why are we working so hard to save it? Part of the problem is that humans are changing the landscape. And I think that we have a responsibility to try and protect those that we harm through our activities. But also, biodiversity is important, it keeps us healthy, so we should have an invested interest in the animals around us.
Some people will look at a toad and they think, well, if it goes extinct, why should we care? But realistically, if you take that approach to things, where do you draw the line?
Extinction is final, and we've put a lot of effort into making sure that that doesn't happen with the Wyoming toad.
And then if you're ready, I can go ahead and start.
The Wyoming Toad Recovery Program gives a great example of a truly collaborative, partnership-based group of individuals.
Without all of the representatives from each of the institutions reporting about what's going on, we wouldn't make this work.
We all want the same thing. We want self-sustaining breeding populations of the Wyoming toad in its natural environment on the ground in perpetuity.